Hey guys, welcome back to Coach's Corner. Today we're going to talk about the purpose behind the workouts found in an endurance training program. It's important for athletes to understand the why behind the workout so that they perform the workout correctly and reap the maximum benefit. The first type of workout we're going to start and talk about are aerobic endurance training workouts. So these are typically going to be your recovery workouts, as well as your longer duration, lower intensity runs, rides, and swims. The main goal of an aerobic endurance workout is to increase your body's ability to use fat as fuel and conserve those glycogen energy stores. So as we know from endurance racing, when we're talking marathon, half Ironman, and even full Ironman, it's going to be absolutely critical for us to conserve those glycogen energy stores because it would be near impossible to ingest enough glucose during the race to adequately restore our glycogen in a race setting. So the longer that we can conserve this glycogen, the better, and we will avoid hitting that wall or that glycogen depletion that results in us dramatically falling off our pace. So these aerobic endurance workouts are going to be highly beneficial in those programs so that we can move that needle of what effort we can still utilize fat for fuel and maintain our pace. Additionally, these aerobic endurance workouts are a great recovery option because our heart rate zone is fairly low, 55 to 75% of our max heart rate. And we're also able to develop our aerobic capacity. So just our body's general ability to deliver and utilize oxygen in the working muscles, which helps us create energy using the aerobic energy system. The next type of workout that we're going to talk about are tempo workouts. Now, these can be performed again in all disciplines, but we're going to talk through mainly on the bike and the run what happens. So when we're talking about tempo workouts, we are talking about a long, sustained, hard effort. Typically, when we're looking at a run, this could be anywhere from 3 to 9 miles of tempo running. When we're looking at the bike, you may have workouts that are 60 minutes or 120 minutes of blocked tempo workout as well. When we're looking at intensities on the bike, a tempo workout is roughly 80 to 90% of your functional threshold power. So your FTP or functional threshold power is roughly the power or the wattage that you can maintain over an hour. Okay, so we're working at 80 to 90% for these types of tempo workouts. The greatest benefit of a tempo workout is that we're going to increase our body's efficiency at using lactate. So lactate is a byproduct when the body is using glucose for fuel. When it's not able to convert enough glucose into energy fast enough to keep up with the demands of exercise, we get lactate as a byproduct that just accumulates, our pH of our muscles changes, and we get a hindrance effect on being able to sustain our same pace until we're able to resume our natural energy production at the rate that we're using it. So by being able to use lactate more efficiently, we're able to prolong the time at which we can hold that same intensity or that same pace. Okay. These are going to be just slightly lower in intensity than our threshold workouts. So our threshold workouts are going to be at a pace that is just right at that lactate threshold pace or just below it. So again, we're still working on increasing our ability or our efficiency to clear that lactate and utilize our energy system to continue to produce enough energy that we can sustain our pace. So that's a benefit of our threshold workouts. Additionally, we're going to increase our speed endurance. So threshold workouts tend to be sustained hard efforts of about 5 to 15 minutes at a time, typically with a lot shorter rest than we're exerting with those efforts. So in the case of if we're doing 5-minute repeats, we may only have 2 minutes or 3 minutes recovery in between, whether that's active recovery or standing recovery. Okay, so definitely a must in any endurance program because we are going to get used to operating at that functional capacity or our ability to run hard or bike hard for longer periods of time. Moving up in intensity, so our lactate threshold, which happens at about 50 to 80% of our VO2 max, we get into our VO2 max workouts. So these are going to be high intensity, so anywhere from that 90 to 95% of our max heart rate. Typically they have a 1-to-1 work to rest ratio, as they are significantly higher in intensity than our tempo and our threshold workouts. And the main goal of these intervals is to increase our aerobic capacity. So again, VO2 max being that gold standard for aerobic fitness, and our aerobic capacity being the ability for our body to utilize oxygen and deliver it to our working muscles. So if we can do this efficiently, then we're going to be able to sustain our pace over time due to efficient production of energy through our aerobic energy system. So it's important that we're not superseding that VO2 max in these intervals and getting in more of that anaerobic range, because we're working an entirely different energy system if we're working at an intensity harder than those VO2 max are prescribed for. Okay, and the last category we have on here are anaerobic or our sprint intervals. So when we're talking about these types of workouts, what we're really looking at is improving our just maximal speed as well as our speed endurance. So again, being able to maintain high force production, high power production, as well as just overall speed over the course of a race. Typically, these types of intervals are fantastic when we're looking at being able to maneuver hills in a race effectively without depleting energy stores and being able to maintain our pace. They're also great when we're looking at being able to tap into that second gear late in a race, or allow us to have a finishing kick, even at the end of a half Ironman or even at the end of a marathon, being able to just give that last little blast of effort. So ultimately, though most of what we're targeting in these workouts is anaerobic, so just that pure speed, because oftentimes these workouts, especially on the bike, are written as 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 50 seconds on, 20 seconds off, things of that nature, you do ultimately get an aerobic benefit as well, improving that aerobic capacity, because you are performing them over a period of time, generating just overall time working at those high intensities. Okay, so we just went through just a few types of workouts that you'll see in your workout program, but ultimately what I want to get across is that you should truly understand everything that goes into planning a workout and specifically designing your program to have you racing efficiently, have you injury-free, everything come your A race or just the season in general. So talk to your coach, make sure you understand why the workout's written the way it is. At a future Coach's Corner, we'll talk through brick workouts as well as transition workouts and how those play a role and relate to these here as well. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week at Coach's Corner.